José Onfroy, the rapper and singer known as XXXTentacion, whose surge in popularity in the last year and a half, including a number one album, came as he was facing accusation of violent crimes against a woman, was shot and killed outside a motorsport store in Deerfield Beach, Florida, on Monday afternoon. He was 20. The Broward Sheriff's Office confirmed the victim was Mr. Onfroy. Videos taken at the scene on Monday and shared on social media show the rapper's slumped body in the driver's seat of a black BMW sport car as a bystander attempted to take his pulse. Mr. Onfroy had been approached by two armed suspects shortly before 4 p.m. in what appeared to be a robbery. The sheriff's office said at least one of the suspects fired a gun and struck the rapper before flying in a dark-colored SUV. Mr. Onfroy was transported to a local hospital. Just after 5:30 p.m., the authorities said that he had been pronounced dead. In the last 18 months, XXXTentacion quickly became one of popular music's most controversial and, in some circles, reviled figures. In early 2017, Look at Me, a breathtaking, autistic, distorted song, became the first breakthrough hit of the SoundCloud rap movement. But at the time, it was soaring in popularity. XXXTentacion was in jail following his arrest on charges including aggravated battery of a pregnant victim and false imprisonment. By the time he was released from jail in March of last year, Look at Me was climbing the Billboard Hot 100. A month later, it would peak at number 44, cementing the rapper's place as a disruptor whose serious personal issues only led to more attention and, for some, showed up his outlaw mystique. Mr. Onfroy was born on January 23, 1998, in Plantation, Florida. He was raised primarily by his grandmother and had multiple scuffles with the law. In 2013, he began recording and releasing music in earnest following a stint in a juvenile detention center. Over the next 2 years, he self-released several projects, both as a solo artist and also a member of the Members Only collective. Sonically, his music was foundational to the rowdy, genre-crushing approach that's become popular of the music streaming service SoundCloud over the past 3 years. Of the artists who got their start in that scene, he was one of the most commercially successful. His debut album, 17, was released last August and has been certified gold. In March, he released his second album, Question Mark, which made its debut at number one on the Billboard album chart. At the time of his death, Mr. Froy was awaiting trial on charges of battery, false imprisonment, and witness tampering. He pleaded not guilty. In a deposition ahead of the trial, as well as an interview earlier this month, Mr. Foy's girlfriend said she was a victim of frequent domestic abuse from him. His favorite thing was to just backhand my mouth, she told to the Miami New Times. That always left welts inside my lips. She said the violence culminated in an attack in October 2016 while she was pregnant, during which Mr. Freud punched, strangled, kicked, and headbutted her. She said Mr. Freud then took her cell phone and moved her to an associate's home for 2 days before she escaped. Mr. Freud was arrested the next morning and ultimately charged with aggravated battery of a pregnant victim, domestic battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, and witness tampering. Roger Django, the owner of the website Masked Gorilla, which chronicles the SoundCloud scene, said that XXXTentacion was both an early beacon, this bargaining brand of underground hip hop, and its most popularizing figure. Roger said, "It was always this internal struggle for me. He's so popular and shedding light on these scenes, but he's been accused of these terrible things." Mr. Django said, taking into account what he'd been accused of doing, his music was still incredibly authentic. His true self bleeds through into his lyrics and his music. Mr. Django added, "Wanting somebody to be held accountable for their action doesn't mean you want them to be killed in the street." The devised term of XXXTentacion rise only seemed to embolden his devout followers. "Kids just represented for him so strongly," Mr. Django said. "They wanted to defend him and to believe that the allegations aren't true. That's built the strongest fan base." XXXTentacion rarely gave interviews, but he often used social media to communicate directly to his fans. In a video posted to Instagram Live Future, he spoke about what he hoped his impact would be. "If I'm going to die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy, or they found some sort of answer or resolve in my life, regardless of the negative around my name, regardless of the bad thing people say to me." XXXTentacion was also at the center of an industry uproar last month when Spotify, the leading music streaming service, said it would stop promoting artists whose real-life conduct it found to be hateful, along with R. Kelly, who has faced decades of allegations regarding sexual abuse. Spotify cited XXXTentacion as someone whose song would be removed from the company's influential playlist. But following a backlash that included Kendrick Lamar label TDI, which called censorship a super sensitive topic, Spotify rescinded the policy 3 weeks later and restored XXXTentacion hit "Sad" to its prominent placement on the playlist. "Sad" has been streamed more than 270 million times on the service and another 174 million on YouTube, and currently sits at number 51 on the Billboard Hot 100 after peaking in the top 10 early this year. Mr. Lamar was one of many older establishment artists who expressed admiration for XXXTentacion's music despite its charges. "Listen to this album if you feel anything," Mr. Lamar wrote on Twitter last year. Following news of XXXTentacion's death, the rapper J. Cole wrote on Twitter, "Enormous talent and limitless potential, and a strong desire to be a better person. God bless his family, friends, and fun."